What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. This is Phase Fantasy Live. I'm your host, Lonnie Z. And along with me today on this beautiful Monday afternoon is Jake Hansen. What's going on, Jake? How you doing,
What's
brother?
going on? What's going on, Lonnie? First
Man,
weekend. Now we got the recap.
right? It's kind of a crazy week. It was
Yes,
kind of a
sir.
crazy week, like it always is. Like the
Mm-hmm.
first week, you just never know what's gonna happen. A lot of crazy things happen. This year, we're going to switch it up a little bit. When we do our recaps, we're not going to go through every single game like we did in the past, but we're just going to give you the highlights and some of the important stories and storylines from the week. So that's how we're going to approach it. We're going to get right into it, though. We are going to start with the Ravens and Chiefs game, and probably one of the biggest things that came out of that game to me was one, we were wrong. We thought that the Ravens would come in and win, and
Mm-hmm.
they almost did. It was a very competitive game, but we did not see Isaiah Likely becoming the story of that game. We both hit on Rasheed Rice and Worthy. They both did great. We think that for the long term, they're going to be very fantasy relevant. Those two receivers. Mahomes looked good still. Kelsey, I said he's going to decline. I think he's declining. Or I don't know if they're using him right. I don't know. He just didn't look too great. He looked a little slow. But Andrews and Likely, so I think they have a problem as far as how they're going to run that offense. And if you drafted Andrews early, you may be in trouble because Likely is really good. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so
Uh, yeah, I think injuries the last couple of years is slowing down Andrews. You could tell, just a little bit. He's still a great, a great pass catcher and all that, but you can tell it's slowing him down just being injured the last couple of years. Yeah, Kelsey's looking really slow off his routes. He
yeah,
really is like really slow. There were some moves that he did, and he juked the defensive player, and I was still surprised. Like, man, just like really slow. Um, the Chiefs have a lot more weapons now. Now when Marquise comes back and they have Worthy, and I think Worthy's going to get an uptick in touches, throughout the year. And Baltimore is just, like I was telling you, it's just like when you went to the store with mom and you ask mom, "Hey, can I get a dime or can I get 15 cents?" And you get that bouncy ball out of the machine and you go in your room and you just throw it as hard as you can and it just boom, 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 bounce all the way around. That's Lamar Jackson. That's Lamar Jackson, man. He's standing there. I swear he probably missed 15 throws that game. And he did hit, and then he did it on his legs, but he's gonna get beat up. I mean, man, like he
yeah,
was running and I thought it was a Henry at first, and then it's him. He ran a
right,
lot. He tried to he tried to win the game by himself, and I think that's what hurt him. He missed at the last 2 minutes. He missed three throws in the end zones, or two, at least two, on that corner
exactly,
route, and the one at Flowers is wide open. He's not being accurate right now, and that's the bad thing about him. If he didn't have legs, he would not be a top 10 quarterback. But his legs
yeah,
are making him a top 5, top 10 quarterback, and he has to relax a little bit, and maybe give Henry the a chance to show what they can do, but to be a little bit better. But yeah,
yeah,
I was a little surprised, but I think Lamar needs to just bring it down a little bit and hit his receivers a little bit better.
yeah. I agree. I think that with the with the Ravens, their offensive game plan just it, for what they have talent wise, they don't
Hmm.
seem like they're using that right. And Todd Munkin, he's going to have to reevaluate something because um, I don't know. I'm with you. I think Lamar didn't look so good. He was off. He was missing targets. He did miss guys in clutch time. He did not show up. But that's kind of been Lamar over the years.
Yep,
He's more of a front runner than he is a clutch, whereas Mahomes is both.
exactly.
When it comes crunch time, Mahomes, that's the guy you want in there because he's going to make that throw. He's going to.
Hmm.
So, very entertaining, though. I think both of them will still have good seasons this
Yeah, for
year.
sure, for sure. But with me though, it's like with the Ravens, like you lost, and they were a little sour after the game. Like everybody was shocked that they turned that last play over, that touchdown. his foot was clearly out of bounds. I
Yeah,
mean, his toes were out of bounds. So everybody
yeah,
was they said they were surprised, and Lamar had a little sour taste in his mouth. Likely's talking crap about the Chiefs, but it's like you can't do that when you guys lost twice against them in the last 2 games. The last 2 games you guys played them. Your last 2 games you guys have played have been the Chiefs. Both times you guys have lost. Both times you can't talk. You can't
right.
talk. You
And
know,
the one before that, they lost at home
and they lost
in a
at
big
home and
playoff
they
game,
choked. Yeah, exactly. You
right?
can't talk.
So, yeah,
And that's one thing I don't like with players. Now they're now Lamar, and if Lamar keeps doing that this year, nobody's gonna will like him because it's like, dude, you lost, move on.
yeah, yeah. It was a pretty tough game for Lamar and for the Ravens. Okay, the first game in Sao Paulo, Brazil, happened. The field was trash. It's funny, whenever we go out of the country, guys are slipping around and falling and on trash soccer fields. They don't know how to make these fields for American football, but that's whatever. Story out of that, great game, really entertaining. Um, 29-34, Eagles get the win. Jalen Hurts looked okay. He had some rust, but he looked all right. He had a good fantasy day, but he's kind of salvaged it towards the end. But the big story, obviously, is Jordan Love
Mhm.
goes down trying to make a play, the end of the game, bring his team back, and he's going to be out for a few weeks with the sprain MCL. I think it is. Is that
Three
what
to
it
s-
is? The sprain.
yeah, but they spread it out pretty far. They said 3 to 6,
Yeah. So that's going to really be problems for the Packers.
and the owners
That's that.
of Reed, Watson,
Yeah, yeah. If
Musgrave,
you
Dobbs,
because
that's gonna be rough. That boy.
Willis is not the answer. If they go out and get Tannehill, then you can have some stability because I think he can work within the framework of that offense. But that's going to be tough for them, and hopefully Love recuperates and recovers quickly because he looked good, man. Jordan Love. I mean, we had questions. Remember, you asked
Mhm,
me, "Hey, you think he's
mhm,
gonna?" I said, "Yeah, he's a good player. He's gonna."
mhm.
He looked good. He looked every bit the part. He
He
looked like
did,
a leader.
he did.
Jaden Reed looked good.
Mhm,
Um, Once again, Christian Watson is still trying to figure out
mhm.
the timing and stuff with him. But if he stays healthy, he's going to get better as the season goes. But the Packers are in trouble without Jordan Love. That is
Ooh.
for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and, owners of Josh Jacobs gonna be rough because they're gonna man the
Yeah.
box. Malik Wallace is a inaccurate quarterback, and, I mean, but there's players out there, like you said, there's a lot of players that they could try to go get. There's a lot of backups out there. Like, if they tell you that he's gonna be out for 6 weeks, then you need to try to trade for somebody because you have a
Right.
good team. Like, why would you not try to get somebody? You're gonna try to run it with Malik Willis. I mean, yeah, I guess maybe try the first game and go from there, but it's a little, it's a little, it's a shock for everybody. So maybe they're going to figure it out. Give him another week. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was a
Yeah.
great game. Hurts looked a little rusty, like everybody else. AJ looked great. Saquon went off. Saquon, he fits perfect in that offensive scheme. But
We're pretty much in our assessment of that game. We pretty much were hitting it
hmm
pretty good. Other
hmm
than this, we thought
we thought Green Bay would win.
no. I
Well,
said
we
I
picked
didn't
Philly.
know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We didn't
We
know. I think
didn't
I picked
know.
Philly. I think we
But
picked.
I picked the under. Remember,
Yeah,
I picked the
yeah,
under on that game, and it turned out to be over. They scored more than I thought they would,
yeah.
both teams.
It
But it was
was.
a
It
very
was.
entertaining game.
Yep.
Hey, so the Dallas Cowboys, they go into Cleveland. We thought that this was kind of a tough game. It'd be a defensive battle. Once again, went the under on it, and I think I would have missed that too. 33-17. But bro, my concern with them was what is their defense going to look like? And I forgot, and I shouldn't forget because this is what I do, right? I shouldn't forget these things, but I forgot they hired Mike Zimmer, baby. That Zim is an old school, hard knocks, hard nosed defensive coordinator, and they have not skipped a beat. They lost a lot of pieces and stuff, but they got Diggs back. They looked every bit the part, and Deshaun Watson looks
Uh,
bad, bro. He
you know.
looks bad.
You know what? Like I was watching that game, and he doesn't even look like he wants to be there.
Yeah,
He doesn't even look like he wants to be there. Like I was watching it, and somebody was sitting there watching with me, and I looked at him. I think it was my wife, and I said, "You know what? That guy does not." I said, "How can somebody that had all the talent in the world just do this because
yeah,
of you're off for 1 year? Like really?" And Mike Zimmer, it's that Turner effect. It's that Norv Turner effect. It's the great coordinator, not great head coach, and I think that's what it is with Zimmer too. He's a great coordinator, and now look at Dallas' defense. They didn't miss a beat since Dan Quinn left, and Dallas played we didn't we thought it was gonna be a defensive game, and Dak got his bag, and they played a good game. The running game was a little, Zeke had what 30 something yards, nothing crazy,
yeah.
but
And
Dallas,
Zeke looked all right too.
he
He
looked all
looked
right.
like he had a little pep back in his step.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. He
maybe
looked
the
all right, but
change of
Cleveland
scenery.
just looked bad. Cleveland
They
looked
did
bad.
on both sides of the ball, man. They just
I know we're going to talk about this, but Njoku hurt
yep.
out 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks.
That
It's like just
that
Cleveland went to
hurts.
straight. It's like, you know what? Like after this year, you're just gonna have to eat that money and just let him go.
And
You're
bro,
gonna have to let him
that's
go.
when we did our tight ends
Will Watson.
rankings, our tight ends rankings. That was one thing we were both concerned with Njoku. We said he was a top 10 tight end or could have been a top 10
Hmm.
tight end, but it's just the injury. He's always hurt. So yeah.
Oh, and then
Um
we're talking about Dallas. So let's just say it now because they're both on there. Jake Ferguson's out. They say week to week, but he has an MCL sprain also, so he's out for probably about 2 to 3 weeks. They said so. I know we were
yeah.
going to wait till later, but I mean, we're both
No,
talking
no, no.
about
We're
these
good.
games.
We're on the game.
So
Hmm.
Ferguson's out, and then now Njoku's out. So that's two tight ends you try to get. So if there's so the two tight ends that I see everywhere, likely and Parkinson's from the Rams. So that's like probably the best pickups right now. Or
Yeah.
Foster Moreau
And with likely there's no guarantee that
and
it's going to
this.
be his week every week.
Nope, and the
You know
same
what I'm
with
saying?
Jawan Johnson and Foster Moreau
Yep.
with the Saints. There's two tight ends
Yep.
there, so there's not a lot out there. There
Nope.
as at all. Tight
And
ends are
if you had
hard.
Kincaid, we're going to talk about Kincaid in a little
Yep.
bit, but if you had him, you're worried.
Mhm.
Dak got paid, man. What do you think about that? It's 60 million, the $60 million man.
I think it's a little high. I think it's a little high for a guy that hasn't won a playoff game. Jalen Hurts took to the Super Bowl. Pat Mahomes took the Super Bowl. Josh Allen's been winning. Joe Burrow took him to the Super Bowl. Brock Purdy hasn't got paid yet. Took him to the Super Bowl. Um, J, Dak has not took him to the Super Bowl. Has not won a playoff game. So he deserved money, but I didn't think he deserved 60 million.
See,
He
I'll
deserves
push
something though.
back. I'll push back on that a little bit. I
He
think he
deserves something.
deserves. I think he deserves what he got because Jerry Jones is a businessman. He's looking at next year. It's going to be more, and the near
Well,
it's going to
well,
be
that's
more. So he's
well,
trying to
that's
lock him
well,
in
that's
now.
true. I mean, yeah, you're right because
And
that
here's the other
contract
thing.
is going to be the third best contract next year because
Well,
there's going to
yeah,
be
for
two other
sure.
quarterbacks better. So yeah,
For
yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah, you're right.
And you have to look at it like this too. Yeah,
Hmm.
he hasn't gone to the Super Bowl, but the way Jerry Jones manages that team, he has his hands in a lot of stuff and messes up their chances of advancing sometimes. So I
But he
think
hasn't
Dak
won a
has done
playoff game though.
everything he, yeah, but that it takes a whole team. It's not
I
just
know,
the
I know,
quarterback. Their whole team, you
I know.
know, chokes when it comes to those times. And
Hmm.
let's just face it, they've had some really tough playoff opponents like right off the bat. The Niners in week 1. That ain't that's not a easy task for
And
anyone
they're
or the
and
Eagles
they
and
and the way they
you
played
know,
yesterday, they played good. Like,
they
but they
did.
played good last year. Dallas played good last year.
They
They
did until
smoked
they
teams last year, but
yeah.
they look good this past week. And when they play the Eagles this year, it's going to be tough. And
Mhm.
when they play games like that, like Washington didn't look as good as I thought they were going to yesterday. But we'll see what's up
Yeah,
the
Washington
first
look
week.
about what I thought because I don't believe in
Yeah,
just like you just said, some coordinators are better coordinators than head coach. Dan Quinn is that guy. He is
we'll see.
not a good head coach, and he won't
Hmm.
be. And Washington is not going to be a good team. They'll
Hmm.
have their moments, but you put him in Cliff Kingsbury together. Yeah, that's not a recipe to get you to a Super Bowl. Okay, Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings. I was kind of high on Darnold coming into this game. He didn't do the fantasy thing that I was looking for, but
Hmm.
man, I had said before that all he needs to do, he doesn't have to be great, he just has to be good in that system. And he was good enough. He didn't. He turned. He had one interception, but he really took care of the ball. He got the ball out of there quickly. He hit his targets, and the Vikings got a big road win. But man, on the other side, the Giants looked horrible, bro. Daniel Jones, man, he looked pretty bad. He looked bad. The Giants offense looks bad. Dable's on the hot seat for sure. The Vikings defense looked good, but they had to look good against that offense. If they didn't, then they would have been. But they did 21 fantasy points. They look good. Um, and neighbors, first game ever. I mean, what do you expect?
Hmm.
Daniel Jones is your quarterback. So I thought Darnold looked good, and hopefully they'll just keep that kind of rolling. I'm not saying he's great or anything. I just say he got the job done like he needed to.
No, yeah, you just need, you need a quarterback just to get you through the game. Like the Brad Johnsons and the Trent Dilfers, and hopefully it doesn't happen to a
Case
couple other
Keenums.
Case Keenums and stuff like that. It's just, it's like Brock Purdy. I think he's a little bit above that, but he just great with that system, right? So, if they could just stay defense solid, and they have two great receivers. They have one great receivers, one good receiver, great tight end coming back in about 3 weeks. So they have a good running back. If they keep just staying the way they are, it's going to be, it's going to be good.
Yeah, and on another note, to just wrap that up, with the Giants Vikings game, Addison got hurt again. He re-aggravated that injury. He's supposed to be having some tests run today. They're saying he avoided a serious injury, but we don't know yet. But if you drafted him, you're going to have to plan accordingly. He was already starting off looking pretty good. He had 35 yards when he left the game. But let's talk about some young quarterbacks. And because there's a lot of hype around a lot of quarterbacks: Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix. I mean, these guys all started games this week, and uh, their first NFL debut. I thought Caleb, for all the hype, and we did a hype video on him, and I think he's going to be fine. But had 90 something yards passing. He didn't look comfortable. Defenses got after him. The Bears offense looked flat. It once again reminded me of the Bears offense.
Hmm.
Not very good. They have all these pieces around them, but they just couldn't figure out how to do it. Their defense looked great. Saved them.
They won the,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, but Caleb, I was a little disappointed in his debut. What was your take on Caleb?
He didn't do what I thought. I thought he's going to score 20. I said that a couple weeks ago. He did
That's true.
not
Yeah.
at all, at all. Tennessee blew the game more than Chicago won the game. Chicago's defense won the game. Will Levis made some bad mistakes last, couple series down at the end, and
Oh yeah, man.
yeah. So Tennessee could easily won that game. Caleb was, like he said, hey, I got to get better. I mean, it was my first game, and we'll go from there. He didn't look good. I don't think anybody on that offense looked as good as we thought they were going to. We thought there was going to be a couple. Swift, nowhere to be found. And that's what I thought. I don't think Swift, like Roshan Johnson was inactive. They didn't even have him playing. So the Bears offense did not even look the way that we thought they would look. We thought they would look a little better, but yeah, we'll see. Jaden
Yeah,
Daniels with Washington took him a little bit get going, but he had he ran for a lot. It wasn't over 90 yards or something, two touchdowns, all to get, so he was, Cliff Kingsbury had him going. So he took a little bit. He looked all right, but Washington couldn't keep up with Tampa Bay. And Bo Nix had a tough time in Seattle. He had a rough time.
yeah, yeah. Bo Nix looked like a quarterback that was trying to, that thought it was still in college, where you could make those tight throws,
Hmm.
and guys don't get to the ball. But not in the NFL, baby. They get to those balls in the NFL.
Yeah.
And yeah, Jaden, of all of them, I thought Jaden looked the most poised.
Hmm.
He looked like he was just out there and comfortable. He looked like he was comfortable. Um, he ran the ball, passed the ball. I think he'll be fine as long as he stays healthy. Another couple of young quarterbacks we could throw in there: Anthony Richardson, elite.
Yeah.
I, I just have to. That's the word. He's an elite fantasy quarterback. If he stays healthy, if you drafted him, you're going to be fine in that quarterback position because he's going to make plays. Those throws, that one throw to Alec Pierce off
Mm-hmm.
his back foot for like 80, it seemed like it was like 100 yards. I saw a stat. It was like the third longest since they started tracking these air yards, since they started tracking the stat in 16 or whenever they
Yeah.
started tracking those stats. But man, this guy looks every bit the part. They really have themselves a, a bona fide quarterback there. And then on another quick note, Kirk Cousins, we talked about Cousins need,
Mm-hmm.
having to get some of that rust off. He didn't look too good.
Nope.
That Steeler defense kind of came in and put it on him a little bit. As we get into a little bit of that game with that Steeler defense, they looked good, man. Tomlin had them playing. TJ Watt is a beast. I mean, we all know TJ Watt's a beast, and he reminded us that he's a beast. But yeah, Cousins is gonna have to. He looked like he did about 3-4 years ago before
Mm-hmm.
when he was still getting comfortable with the Vikings and stuff. He looks slow in the pocket.
It just sucked that it was the first game. His first game back was against Steelers. Like Steelers defense, I knew it was going to be a good game. It was going to be a close game. That game was like first one of 21 wins. Like Steelers are not going to score touchdowns this year with the way they are. Even Justin Fields came in, and gosh, almighty man, like is Russell going to be better than that? Like honestly, like we
Nah,
talked about this on our
nah.
last podcast. Like we're like, what is going to happen? Like that is bad. That is
Yeah,
bad. And there goes the speculation of Dak Prescott going to the Raiders or Pittsburgh because he just got his bag. So
yeah,
this is it. I mean, I don't. The starting quarterback for 2025 for the Pittsburgh Steelers is not on their team right now. That's it. They
I
got good
agree.
defense. Their defense is going to win them games. The Falcons, I hope they pull out of it next week. Pitts finally start getting. He looked like the tight end that when he started. They did give him the ball a little more, but Jean looked better. But they played a good defense. Let's see about next game. But Kirk looked rusty, looked slow, bad throws, just throwing off his back foot, just throwing it. So
Yeah, Kirk Cousins did look bad. He didn't look good at all, and it is what it is. The Falcons as a team didn't look good. They didn't look good offensively. Defense they looked all right, but against that offense for Pittsburgh, any defense should look all right.
mhm.
So I was kind of surprised. Um, what about the new look Texans?
I'm I hope he doesn't think too much, CJ Stroud. I hope Diggs doesn't get in his ear. I hope he doesn't look out there and see too many weapons and just freeze up. It's probably kind of weird me saying that. Maybe some people probably thinking why he's saying that, but just play like you did last year, you'll be fine. Like a Nico went off, right? A Diggs only had 50 yards. We had 2 touchdowns. Dell didn't have a Dell game. Just throw who's open. Don't if they don't get if they have good chemistry and nobody gets a big head and I have to have the ball, they're gonna be fine. But
Yeah,
he looked a little rusty yesterday though too. He looked a little off. He looked
he
off.
did. I like Joe Mixon.
Joe
It
Mixon
could
went
just
off.
be it could just be the first game, a new
Mm-hmm.
team. But if they use him like that, I think Joe still has that in the tank to give you that kind of performance on a weekly basis, where he's going to
Mm-hmm.
be a bona fide fringe RB1, for sure RB2, in your fantasy lineup. I mean, you run him out there every week. You know what I mean?
Well,
Um,
do you think so though? Do you think this is not just a 1 week flash and then next week everybody's
No,
gonna pick
because they're gonna
Mixon and
they're gonna
then
use they're gonna use them all the time.
yeah.
They're really incorporated. That's why I'm saying the new look, because I don't think they're just about only passing now. I
No,
think
well,
now
no.
they're thinking we can run and pass,
Mm-hmm.
and so we're gonna kind of mix it up. I think D'Amico Ryan's is smart enough to
Yep.
incorporate that, kind of like the Niners. I mean, he comes from the Niners system.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously he's on the
Run
defensive
pat.
side of
Right.
that, but he saw Shanahan run that, and
Mm-hmm.
they run and pass and they do it all. You'll see Tank Dell doing end arounds and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. Tank Dell will suffer a little bit now,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think if you drafted Tank Dell, you're probably gonna have to put him on your bench and pick your spots to put him in your lineup because unless Diggs or Nico go down, he's he can have some of those big games, but you just never know when they're gonna happen. You know what I mean? So you can't
Yeah.
count on him on a weekly basis. Um,
I
the
mean,
Texans,
it sure helps them to have a running back 'cause, you can see how deadly they are when they have a running back that could catch and run in the backfield.
oh for
Pierce,
sure,
yeah. I mean, it looked Pierce didn't do that for him
yeah.
last year, and with Mixon, it's going to make them a lot harder to stop.
Yeah, and I think Mixon this year has a little chip on his shoulder,
Hmm.
so it might help him a little bit. I think if you have him, you may have caught a little lightning in a bottle for a season,
Hmm.
or at least 8 games or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
At least, especially the beginning. Um, Buffalo, bro, what's up with Buffalo, bro?
Say
What
it.
the Buffalo Allens is
Yeah,
what is what I'm
yeah,
calling this because
yeah.
they're not the Buffalo Bills, bro. They're not the Bills. If you look at their stat line across the board, I think Keon Coleman had 4 receptions that led all the receivers in receptions, and they're trying to say, oh, he was distributing the ball, getting the ball around to these no name receivers, bro. He's not. Josh Allen is everything to the Bills to a fault. Like they get inside the 20, not even inside the 5, bro. Inside the 20, he starts running and trying to hurdle people and get in the end zone and all. That's not a recipe for success. They've proven that, and they have one of the most talented young tight ends. I don't think they know how to run an offense. To be honest with you, Cooks looked good yesterday.
Yeah,
He looked a lot better.
he had like 70 yards rushing and
Yeah,
some catches
yeah.
and stuff. So,
So Cooks looks like he's getting
hmm.
finally getting comfortable in the NFL, which is great because he looked really. I thought he looked real good. I know he only had 70 yards, but I thought he looked really good.
Hmm.
But I just don't know about their offensive philosophy, and their defense didn't look so great either. I don't know.
Josh Allen's a quarterback. Quarterback gets the ball to the receivers, and it was looking like Lamar did on Thursday. Like, give me the ball, and I'm going to win this game.
Yeah,
But Josh Allen has a better arm. I mean, he's a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson,
yeah, passer.
passing
Hmm.
wise. But it's like use it, man. Like Keon Coleman made it look good. I mean, the first half was Josh Allen, and he couldn't do it. Second half, he start throwing it more. Kincaid, I think, had 2 catches, but then Coleman start getting in, and Shakur got in a little bit. That's how he got his touchdown in the second half. So he started passing at the end. So, but it took a whole first half for the offensive coordinator to go in the locker room to say that, though. I mean, it took a
Yeah,
whole first half to walk in there to look at tape to see that you guys are not passing the ball. I don't get that. Like, I mean, you're right. Like, you were playing a bad defense. Like, you were playing a bad
exactly.
defense. The second half, you guys dominated the Cardinals' defense. Or defense. The Bills dominated them. I mean, you only had 3 points going in the second half, and then all of a sudden you're up by 10 or by 11, and then you do some stupid stuff, but that kick return. But you're right. You have one of the best talented tight ends in the league, and you don't use them. It's unreal to me. And maybe that's why the problem was with Diggs. Maybe that's what it was. There's something there, and we said it before. Is it Diggs or is it the Buffalo Allens? Straight up.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe they don't know how to use receivers. Maybe everything's just all about Josh, and that's what it looks like so far. And now that it starts me really rewinding his career, and it's always been like that, I guess. All about Josh
McDermott,
Allen.
and maybe he needs a shakeup. Maybe Josh Allen needs somebody new.
Yeah, because they don't have enough weapons around them, and when they do get them, they don't even use them.
I just
So
want to say one
Kincaid,
thing, Dean, or I just want to say, McDermott, don't be Arthur Smith this year for Lonnie because you're gonna hear it, brother.
right? Because he will be a short for sure. He will make it to my
It's
short list, and
you're almost there, man. Dennis Allen almost made mine this week, but he did his thing. But I'm telling you,
yeah,
McDermott, don't be the Arthur Smith of this year. Don't do it. You
right,
guys have a
right,
talented quarter. You have the top 2 quarterback in the league, man. You That should
yeah,
not happen. That should not happen.
right, right. No, I agree. You know, Josh Allen, he only rushed for 39 yards. Kyler Murray rushed for 57 yards, five rushing attempts, 57 yards. He had 162 yards passing and a touchdown. Kyler Murray, he didn't look bad to me. I thought he looked okay. He brings energy to that offense. I just don't think they have much of an offensive game plan similar to Buffalo. It's just like
Hmm.
Kyler run here, Kyler run there, hand off the ball. James Conner, when he got the ball, looked good. He looked kind of fresh. He looked okay. Trey Benson, he had only 3 carries for 13 yards, but he looked all right. Um, and they passed. Greg Dortch was their leading receiver, six
Yeah.
receptions for
Yep.
47 yards. They didn't get the kid involved, and I'm sure that they will. And I know everyone, the internet went crazy. Oh, he was wide open and Kyler missed
Yeah.
him. Bro, Kyler was running for his life on that play,
Yeah.
bro. He
Yeah.
just, that's not, those things are going to happen sometimes.
But
Um,
uh,
but, I don't think their game plan's too good on offense either.
I would like to see the Cardinals play one more game this week coming up, right? And I just want to see, but there's a lot of talk of the Cardinals that squeaking in the playoffs out here for some reason. I don't see them being more than a 6-game winning team. Um, Not saying that they can't do it, but just watch them yesterday. The Bills should have.
Blew them out.
If the Bills would have did what they did in the second half and the first half, it would have been 40 something to 17 or 20 or whatever it was. It would have been bad.
Yeah.
Kyler
Yeah.
couldn't make a throw. He made a lot of out of bounds throw. He does that like a baseball throw, and I just watch it. He just slings it out of bounds. Slings it out of bounds. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Like the last play of the game, he throws it out of bounds. Like he's throwing it on the sideline. Like the play calls, you're right. The play calls were crazy this week. I don't know if and I think a lot of it has to do with him not playing in the preseason. I think it has a lot to do with it. He did not play one snap in the preseason, and it showed. The guy only had
Yeah.
150 yards. He only scored 15 fantasy points.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bills' defense is not good, Lonnie. There's
No,
so many
no,
injuries. They are not good at
no,
all.
they're not.
So for Harrison and then McBride, his favorite target didn't do anything either. Had 30 yards.
Yeah.
So
5 for
I would
30.
like to see what they do against the Rams. I would love to see him get the Rams. I hate to say that the Rams have a powerful offense than the Bills
Oh, well,
because
they
Josh.
do.
I know, but it's so hard to say that when Josh Allen is better than Stafford, younger than Stafford, but the Rams
But
have a
that's where
better
it
offense.
ends.
I know, but the Rams have a better offense than the Bills, and we'll see what it looks like this weekend in Arizona. And if the
Yeah.
Rams dominate the Cardinals, there's going to be some talk. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Well, the Cardinals have a lot to figure out, and their fans out here are all. I talked to several of them yesterday, and they're like, but we look good. I'm excited about. And I'm thinking, you
They did
guys
not
didn't
look
look
good.
good.
They
You
didn't
didn't look
look
very
good.
good. I mean, you did all right going on the road and losing, 28-34 and having a chance to win. But I think it was more the Bills just look bad than the Cardinals looking good. Young tight ends. That was the matchup of the young tight ends.
And then they,
Dalton
yep.
Kincaid, Trey McBride. And I mean, what the heck? Kincaid, 1 reception for 11
Hmm.
yards, McBride, 5 for 30. So they got McBride involved a little bit more. But
Well,
man,
I don't know.
I'm worried about Kincaid, bro, and the way they're
You
going
know
to use
what?
him.
Just like that, just like I said, I want to see the Cardinals next week. I want to see the Bills and see because you have to use them. Like, why aren't you passing to your best receiver on the team? Like, why? Why aren't you using them?
Well,
Why are you? I don't get it. I don't get it.
what the stat from last season was when um when Joe Brady took over um at the second half of the year for them because they fired their old offense coordinator. Kincaid's volume went down,
Hmm.
and it looks like it's just continuing into the season. Maybe they don't value the tight end. Then why go out and spend such high draft capital, first round pick on that guy?
When you had
And
Knox, You had
Yeah.
Knox, and you
Yeah,
go
and
get
they
that.
still do. I mean, what did Knox do yesterday? I
He
think
had like a
Knox
30-yard catch or
had a
something,
had a
20.
better, yeah, he's like 1 for 23, you know? I mean, he had a better stat line. So anyway, young tight ends, those are the, those two guys, and then uh it just I think Trey McBride has a more promising season ahead of him because I think the Cardinals will use him more
Mhm,
than Dalton Kincaid.
mhm.
So right now, and you're right. Let's just see how it goes. I'm not going to be one of those guys we're all worried about week one. But hey, this is all we saw what we saw, and we get to evaluate what we saw. So
I just yeah, I just like out of I just because there's certain teams this year that there's a couple quarterbacks that it's make or break this year, and
yeah,
Kyler Murray's one of them. And
yeah,
if he doesn't, he's gonna have to be gone with all that money.
for sure.
And that's the talk big time right now. And that's I just like to see like when they play the Rams. I just would like to see that. I just I just want to see how they look.
Yeah.
And the same with
Um.
Kincaid, and the same with a couple other teams out there.
Hmm.
Like Atlanta. Atlanta, that was not Atlanta. Chicago, that was not the teams that, the hype that was coming in. So we'll see.
No. You know who was not hyped at all this year in the offseason and was a second thought? I mean, you and I had not mentioned his name one time in any podcast and any through the offseason, none of that. We had not mentioned this guy. We talked about more about Adonai Mitchell, who was, I will say, the rookie Adonai Mitchell was wide open a lot.
Yep.
He had separation, and Richardson just missed him,
Missed him.
right?
He missed him on a deep route on the sideline. He had a probably 80-yard touchdown catch,
Oh, for sure.
and he missed
100%.
him by like 5 yards. I
100%.
could not believe it.
But
He was
but
wide open, missed him 5. He
right?
overthrew him.
Yeah.
Overthrew him. Well, he
But
has I
Alec
mean, with that
Pierce,
boy, he better throw it deep because that boy is fast.
yeah, yeah,
But Pierce
for
went but
sure.
Pierce showed up last year at the end of the season. He
And
showed
he's
up
showing up
yeah,
early this season.
with
The
Downs
long
out.
ball, and he's catching it. Like that contested catch that he made, that 52-yarder was good. And then the bomb, the touchdown, that was uh that was just a beautiful throw, beautiful catch. So Alec Pierce, I would say if he's going to be their wide receiver too, go get him in waivers. He's okay to pick up, especially with if they're going to be slinging it around like that. You might as well just pick him up, sit him on your bench, and
Well,
just see how they're
Downs
going to use him. And and
Downs is
Downs
coming
is still.
back. He's coming back, so we'll see.
So if Downs comes back, then it does cloud. It does crowd up that receiving room because you have Mitchell, you have Pierce, and then they had another guy who slipped my mind right now who's got a touchdown.
Dolphin.
And
Delphin.
and
Delphin.
yeah, so, but Alec Pierce, man, maybe all the hype, because he had a lot of hype coming into the league,
Mhm.
just hadn't lived up to it. So he may be able to solidify himself as that number two. Only time will tell, but he's off to a good start. I think we talked about the Bears defense when we talked about the Bears. They look elite. They look really good.
Mhm.
But part of that too, they look opportunistic, I guess you could say, because part of that was Will Levis did not have a good game,
No.
and bro, you can't just throw the ball to what was he thinking on that last one?
Yeah, I couldn't
I
believe
mean,
it.
we had the Bears and fan and
Yeah.
daily, so we loved it. The
Mhm.
26 points, we'll take that. But that's kind of like the Vikings Giants thing where their defenses both look great, but against those offenses they had to.
Well,
But Tony Pollard,
Tony Pollard.
he looked good.
Tony
We talked
Pollard.
about him. I think
We
in this
we
system he's
did.
going to be better, don't you?
Tony looked way better, and he didn't even really split with Spears. Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard.
Nope.
We've
Yep.
been talking about him. Tennessee should have won that game, but
Hmm.
to jump back on the Bears defense real quick, the Bears are going to be playing Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota. Minnesota's offense ain't, I mean, they are, but
Yeah.
those other two, I mean, it's, we'll see
Yeah.
what happens.
Well, without Jordan Love, it changes though.
But
It
without Jordan Love,
changes
changes big time.
dramatically. So it's really
It's
Detroit.
pretty. Green Bay's defense is going to have to keep him in the game. How with that?
Yeah.
Because I don't. It's going to be rough.
And
Malik
and I
Willis,
don't
if
know if
he
that's going
just
to happen.
Malik Willis, we'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see. Because
yeah,
Jaden Reed, he is a little 5 out and then runs, 5
for sure.
out, boom, pass, catch, run 50 yards. So that's what was his touchdowns pretty much were run after the catch. So it just sucks for
Yeah,
that team, young team. That team had a lot of promise, and if he misses the full 6 weeks, ooh,
that's
it's
gonna
gonna
be
be
tough.
rough. It's gonna be tough.
Yep,
I
it
feel
is.
bad for it.
Opens the doors for
Eh,
other teams then in the
Vikings
division.
Vikings have a chance. Lions are already the Lions look good yesterday. Their offense a little slow, but
Yeah, I was surprised with the Lions, man. The Sunday night game, good game, very entertaining. They come away with the win, but they didn't use St. Brown, bro.
mm-mm.
I mean, St. Brown did not get used as much as I figured that they had to use St. Brown because he's their number one guy and he's just their possession guy. He had three receptions for that can't be right. Three receptions for 13 yards. That's not right. Is that what you got? That's I'm looking at ESPN right here. Amon-Ra said three receptions, 13 yards, six targets,
Mm.
three receptions for 13 yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
That
Laporta had 4 for 45. Jameson Williams, five receptions, 121 yards. He sat on my bench in both my leagues. One
me
wasn't on
too.
purpose.
Well, yeah, you had
I just missed to
yeah.
get him in. I had Chase Brown in there, but I was gonna put Jameson. I thought I had Jameson in there. My bad. So it could cost me both my games. It could,
Well, it would
but
have been hard. It would have been
I could
hard to
still
start.
win.
I have Jameson in one too, and then my brother he drafted Jameson, and you weren't going to start Jameson first week. It's Amon St. Brown, and yeah, you're right. It was only 3 receptions, 6 targets. Last year he was getting 10 targets a game. He was getting
Yeah,
13. He was getting 10 receptions a game.
and I'm sure he will again. But why in this game did he not? Did they not go after him more? That is kind of a
And
I
this
don't know. That's a
game,
problem for me, man.
Cooper Cup looked like Cooper Cup. Puka got hurt, but before Puka got hurt, Cooper Cup was actually getting his.
14 receptions, 110 yards, a touchdown. Cooper Cup, like
Cooper Cup.
we talked about that.
Mm-hmm. I
We
just
talked about it.
Puka just I don't know. That's bad. They're
Yeah,
not
it was that
saying, but
knee, man.
he's been out with the knee too. He's been out with the same knee injury.
Yep. And that is bad because that's the last thing they need. And yeah, they have still, Cooper, but um, he's scheduled for to undergo testing today. Is Puka Nakua, and they'll have more information on that as the day progresses on what's going on with Puka. But it's pretty sad.
There's
He
something wrong
looked,
if they're going to do MRI. There's something wrong because they said they have to figure out what's going on in his knee.
yeah, it's
So
deeper than
something's up.
what they
Yep.
downplayed
Yep.
it in
It's deeper than they've been put. I'm.
preseason.
Yep.
Yeah, but as a whole, both those teams look good.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Rams are going to be contending for a playoff spot this year. I think they really are. Obviously, they have a great coach. He's still a great coach, but they looked really when it came time to them needing to stop the run at the end of the game, they couldn't do it, man. And Aaron Donald's absence
Mm-hmm.
really showed up. It's just
Mm-hmm.
in the attitude. I saw one of their linebackers, man, not even wanting to go and collide in the hole, like let it come to him. And I'm like, bro, what? This is the game's on the line. You got to get your hat in there. And it was just kind of I was just like, wow, they don't seem to have that attitude on defense that they once did
Mm-hmm.
when Donald was there, when Ramsey was there. They don't have that attitude, man, and it's that could be a real problem for them this year.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the big worry. I mean, I think it hurt them more at the end of the game than it did in the beginning of the game because
Yeah,
that's when they really put Montgomery and them in. I guess the
yeah,
Lions are going to run with Montgomery and Gibbs again. Nothing's going to change. I guess nothing's going
for
to
sure.
change. The
And they,
whole
Gibbs had 11 carries, Montgomery had 17,
mhm.
but that's how it started last year. And Gibbs is coming off an injury. They may have had him
Mhm.
on account a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But he looked
Yep.
good.
Yeah, he looked good. He looked
He
good.
looked
Just with
good.
the St. Brown thing, it could have just been the beginning of the year, just seeing what's up. But maybe they want to get
Yeah,
Williams in more in there. But that's gonna be big if he keeps playing the way like that. Jameson keeps playing like that. That guy's
bro.
electric, man.
That's how that kid plays, bro.
Yeah.
That's how I remember breaking him down as a rookie, and one of the things that I noticed and I said in that very first video I ever made of this guy,
Hmm.
I said he has a stop and go that is like elite that does not, and then it showed on that touchdown, he stopped and went. He was full sprint, hit the brakes, and then was back to full sprint again, caused a separation. There's a touchdown. And that's just one of his tailor moves that he just can stop and go so quickly. And DBs don't have an answer for it. He's gonna be a problem, bro. He is gonna be a problem if he can stay
Hmm.
healthy because he got a little banged up too.
Hmm.
So he's got to stay healthy. All right, well let's wrap it up with a couple of things. What do you think? Can they do it? Can the Chiefs three-peat?
Mm.
Can they be the first team? Do they
You know,
have the perfect mix with the quarterback that's hates to lose, like a Montana, like a Brady? I mean, he's got all that mentality in him. He is a competitor, like a Jordan. He's a competitor. And then they have the coach that just seems to have chemistry with this team. Do they have a shot? I mean, I don't want to get way ahead of it because it's week one, but can they three-peat? What do you think?
out of all the AFC West teams that we watched this week, there's no reason why they won't get to the Super Bowl unless something
That's true.
drastically changes. The Bills are not going to the play. The Bills, as of last week or as of yesterday, don't look like they're going to go anywhere unless it just drastically changes. Baltimore gets scared against Chiefs. I'm going to say it like Lamar. He cannot win the big. He cannot win the big game. Not, I can't. I'm not saying that, but he just the game plans change. It's what I mean, like when they play the Chiefs, their game plans change for some reason. They play
Yeah.
a certain way all year, like last year, and then they got to the playoffs. They stopped running the ball against the Chiefs. They stopped doing everything that they should have done, and then last game they didn't run the ball like we thought they would with Henry. That's why they went and got him. So
Right.
will they go to the Super Bowl? I right now, yeah, I see it. I mean, the
If
Bengals
they
look,
stay healthy.
yeah, they stay healthy. The Browns, the way the Browns look, I, you know, the Bengals look bad. Pittsburgh has no offense. Miami's just a scratch. You don't know. Jacksonville's the same. Jacksonville had that game. They threw that game away. The
Yeah.
Chiefs are the most all around best team right now, and Baltimore's number 2 in the AFC. And
Yeah.
I there's no reason why they wouldn't go to the Super Bowl. At least get there.
And they obviously they have the Niners number.
They have the Niners number. They have the
For
Niners
some
number,
reason.
but
That sounds crazy, but it's like
no,
the
you're right.
curse. I mean, we
Yeah.
saw our first overtime in the Super Bowl first in
Hmm.
history was last year. So the Niners are getting closer.
But
The Niners
if
might
you
might kick that door in if they get there against
But if
them
you look,
again.
the Niners hasn't. We're talking about the Jets. We don't know how the Jets are going to look today. The Jets, I think, are going to be a lot better defense,
Yeah.
offense. The Jets stopped the Chiefs. I don't know, but I think out of yesterday, out of watching, I think the NFC had a better week. Philly looked good, looked all right. Green Bay looked good until Jordan got hurt. Dallas looked good. Dallas looked really good. The Lions, they look good. So
Yeah.
they look better than So if the Chiefs go to Super Bowl, they're going to have a fight for it, a fight. But
Yeah.
we'll see with the Jets and Baltimore and Bengals. I don't see that, and the Bills, I don't see it either right now.
Yeah. You know, right now they got to be the odds on favorite to make it out of the
Hundred
AFC
percent,
for
100%.
sure. They're the most complete team, and with these new weapons, only thing it takes a lot to repeat, and it takes even more to three-peat. Health is huge, so as long as they can stay healthy, they'll always have a shot, and as long as they have Mahomes, they will definitely have a shot to do that. And so, that's about it. The only other things maybe real quick is I thought AJ Brown looked good for fantasy owners. I think you're going to be fine. You expect a lot out of AJ. I think you got that. And some of the elite players. One thing that's kind of disturbing is you mentioned Cincinnati, and they didn't look like they had much of a running game. They didn't look like they had much of an offense. They didn't look like they had much of a team. Joe Burrow kind of looked flustered. Jamar Chase. I mean, you take T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd out of that offense, and then you just have Chase. Jamar, this is why you're not getting so far. You haven't got the bag that you want because you are not the leader, and he's not half the leader that like a Justin Jefferson is to his team, or even CeeDee Lamb came and looked good yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Still, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so and you can't blame it on a quarterback. He's got one of the best quarterbacks in the league, Joe Burrow, throwing him the rock. And he was 6 for 6. I mean, 6 targets, 6 receptions, I think is what Jamar's numbers were. So you can't really, put it all on him, but it takes more than one player, and he's pouting about his money. I just think it's highly unfortunate that Jamar Chase is focused so much on his money. He needs to focus on football. The money will come. To great players, the money always comes. Look at Dak. He just got paid.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's getting paid. He'll get paid. I think he should just shut his mouth, be patient, let his agent deal with that money stuff, and just put his focus on the field because the Bengals need him, man. They looked bad. They should not have lost that game. And hey, we got to tip our hat to New England. New coach, Belichick's out the door, and the Patriots get a win. On the road, the open the season, and I don't think they've opened the season with a win since Brady left, bro. So for that to happen, Jared Mayo, hey, props, Mayo.
Yeah,
I'll
Jacoby
give you some
Brissett,
prop. Yeah,
Jacoby,
man.
Ramondre look like Ramondre, like we always think Ramondre should look.
He did. He
120
looked
yards.
good.
I,
Yep.
I mean, to me, it's like I don't know if I'm more shocked that the New England won, or I'm more surprised at how the Bengals lost. And I don't know, does that make
Right.
sense to you? Like, like,
Yeah,
like
it
the
does.
like like nothing. Like Burrow, and,
21 to 29, 164 yards.
and you know what? Look, and I don't get these teams, man. I don't get these teams, and we talk about it. Like Baltimore needed a receiver this year. They didn't do it. They didn't get one. Cincinnati, Mike Gesicki as your tight end. Come on, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Zach Moss as your starting running back.
Right.
I mean, come on, man. I don't get that. I don't get it. I just
Yeah.
don't get it. Moss didn't do too bad yesterday. He got I don't know. He got like 12 fantasy points, but Chase Brown didn't look like the way that we thought either. He had a couple carries and nothing, but you have Joe Burrow, and T Higgins should be back this week. They're saying or soon, but they had that rookie that like 30 minutes before the game, Ilasova or Ilavoisia
Yeah.
or whatever. They were like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I gotta pick him up,
Hmm.
pick him up, pick him up, put him on FanDuel, DraftKings. He's gonna be one of the shockers." Brrr. 30
Yeah. Yeah.
yards. He was not.
Yeah. Yeah. He had 3 for 26 and
Yeah,
six
20. Yeah, he
six
was.
targets.
Yeah, he was not.
Zach Taylor is the offensive coordinator,
Yeah.
and he needs to figure something out, bro. Because Joe Burrow, if you look at Joe Burrow's line, it's 21 of 29 is not bad. That's
Mm-mm.
but the 29 part is bad because they didn't really establish a run either. So
Mm-mm.
you can't only throw it 29 times and not have a dominant run game. If you're throwing it 29 times with Joe Burrow, your run game better be off the charts that day. It better be like really, a well-oiled machine, but that wasn't the case. Zach Moss, carries for 44 yards.
Touchdown.
Chase Brown and a touchdown. Chase Brown, 3 for 11. I
Well,
mean,
New
this is the
England's a good.
guy.
Hold on, let's not take it away. We just gave
They are.
Mayo some props. The Patriots got a good run defense, and they've had for the last couple of years. So,
They do. They
but
do. And
but
and
164 passing yards. Come
this is
on,
Joe freaking Burrow we're talking about.
and this is another
And
one, and
Jamar Chase.
and this is another one. And this is another one that we're saying, let's see you next week, and
Yeah,
let's just see
for
because
sure.
we could just be putting our, we're just saying what we seen, what it looked like, and if you watched all these games, if you looked at it, you're going to think the same thing. It's nothing that we're telling you that's any different. If you watched it,
Yeah,
the eye test, that's that's pretty much what you're going to see. It was just like, whoa. So you can't be shocked. There's nothing that's going to shock you. It's just a couple things that just didn't work out the way that we thought.
exactly. All right, let's close the show out with this real quick. Our waiver wire pickups for week one. Some targets that we can give everyone so they can go out and be looking at this waiver wire and seeing. Um, we already talked about Alec Pierce. I think is a good
Hmm.
target. If he's out there, go out there. If you're looking for a streaming defense, you now know you could probably stream opportunistic Viking defense. The Bears defense they're already owned in most leagues,
Hmm.
but the Viking defense may be floating around out there, so you could stream that.
Hmm.
Um, what else you got on
Uh, for like tight ends, but those two tight ends that got out is likely Parkinson's. With Nakua going out, like Lonnie said, Alec Pierce. That's look at that. There was a couple other like running backs wise. There's not really any running backs that came out that we don't already have that nobody already
yeah.
owns. To be honest,
And Zach
you know,
Charbonnet, he's probably owned, but if he's not, you might want to get him, especially as a handcuff, because Kenneth Walker is hurt. We don't know if he's going to miss time just yet. They haven't come out with that from the time we're recording this. We don't know that. But Zach Charbonnet, if he's available,
Ty
and
Chandler. If Ty Chandler's a free agent, if he's out there, maybe get Ty Chandler in there. He he touched the ball a lot yesterday, so just in case, just saying, if you have a hurt running back, Alec or Madison from the Raiders,
yeah,
he
he
had a
looked
lot of
good
touch
yesterday.
yesterday. He looked good,
Hmm.
and here's another one, Bucky Irvin. He
Yeah,
led the Buccaneers with rushing yards yesterday. But Rashad White
I
had
liked.
75 receiving yards yesterday, though. So that's going to be a handcuff. That's going to be a toss up every week. Next week, Bucky Irvin might only get 4 carries, and we don't
Right.
know. But if you have a running back that got hurt, that'd be a good one. Um, I have like the top scores for the week. Top
Hmm.
quarterbacks of the week was Josh Allen, and Baker.
Mhm.
Uh,
Oh, there's another. If you're hurting out quarterback, Baker Mayfield. He's available in most leagues.
if he's there, yeah.
You know, yeah, he's available in most leagues. So
If he's there,
yeah,
I looked on my league that I had. Jordan Love that went out. He's gone. He's gone. Yeah, he's gone. Joe Mixon, Saquon led the running backs this week. Jaden Reed and Cooper Cup led the receivers, and Isaiah Likely and Forrest Morrow led the tight ends.
that's our week one recap. I'm Lonnie. He is Jake. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you on the next one.